Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga. Let's analyze with Radek Vegas the sixth match day of the German Championship with Gladbach Leipzig. And we've teamed up with Novibet so you can win a £10 free bet. You just need to leave a comment here to enter the draw. Now let's go on with the show. We have the sixth match day on the Bundesliga this weekend, and we are going to analyze every single game with Radek Vegas. Hello, Radek.
Hey, Eduardo, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. We didn't see any surprises last weekend. All the favorites won: Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Leipzig, Gladbach, Leverkusen. So let's see if we have more opportunities to get good money this weekend. And we start on Friday with Schalke Stuttgart. Again, Schalke lost in the Ruhr derby, and of course only 1 point for them this season, and Stuttgart is still doing well. Radek, 1 point against Cologne, and now 4 games undefeated.
Yeah, good thing for a new team in the league. And on the other hand, we have Schalke with about 21 losses or 21 games not winning in the Bundesliga. And yeah, is this the day that Schalke win again? Probably. I think Stuttgart is a little bit overrated, and Schalke was not too bad in the last 2 games. They had to face Dortmund, which is a clear better team. But if they want to win any game sooner or later, they have to win this game against Stuttgart. But it's too dangerous to bet on a weak team like Schalke to win this game. But if you want to know my opinion about, I would say the most interesting thing here is a draw, because you have odds of 3.6 on a draw here. There's not a lot to win on a bet on Stuttgart, because they are here the favorite with 2.25, which is pretty too low for Stuttgart. And yeah, Schalke is with 3.3 is a good odd, but yeah, it's too dangerous to bet on Schalke. That's why my favorite bet would be a draw here.
Fair enough. And let's move on. On Saturday, we were mentioning the Ruhr derby with Dortmund, a way better team than Schalke. They won easily 3-0, another good goal scored by Haaland, and now they travel to Bielefeld to face Arminia, who started pretty well the season, but now 3 defeats in a row. I don't know if you can see any surprise here. Maybe Dortmund is tired after 2 consecutive weeks in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's the only point where you can maybe bet on Asian handicap on Arminia Bielefeld here. But after their last 3 appearances, that would be not a good decision, I think. And yeah, a bet on a win of Dortmund is with 1.45. The odds are not high, that's clear. But I think that Dortmund has to win this game for sure. And yeah, to bet on Dortmund with Asian handicap minus 1.5 would get odds of 2.17. In a regular situation, I would prefer this bet, because Dortmund is a clear title contender, and they have to win against teams below them, and that's a clear win for them. But as you said, maybe they are tired of the Champions League and they're not that stable they used to be. But yeah, it's better to bet on the favorites. As we see last week, there were clear wins of Bayern Munich, Dortmund, and Leipzig struggled a bit with Hertha only winning 2-1.
They've been pretty solid so far, the top 3 teams. And a team that is not being solid, has been actually terrible this season so far, is Mainz. 0 points so far. I think is the only one in all the important leagues in Europe. And now they face Augsburg, that started the season pretty well. They lost on Monday against Leverkusen, but I think they made a pretty good game. And now they are 3 games without a win. Still pretty decent odds for the victory of Augsburg here.
Yes, but I never forget Mainz scored twice against a Champions League team like Gladbach. They were in front in the first half with 2-1, and yeah, I think their strikers are really good, especially Mateta, who scored once or even both goals. Not sure again, but Mainz has definitely the chance to score in Augsburg and to point. In the last 3 games, Augsburg won all games against Mainz in the Bundesliga, but I don't know if if this is so easy as the odds of 2.0 say. Another draw game for me, because I think Mainz is stepping up step by step, and with their new coach Jan Moritz Lichte, it was his second game now against Gladbach. Mainz was much better than in the first games, and so it's a kind of leveled game against Augsburg, and I think the odds on Augsburg are a little bit too low, and that's why I would prefer a draw here as well.
It's also quite low. I would say the odds for the home team in our next game, Eintracht Werder Bremen. Eintracht odds are 1.85 after their defeat against Bayern Munich, but you always say that we don't have to take in consideration the games against the Bavarian team, because it's almost impossible for the rival to get a point. And they had 2 victories so far in this Bundesliga, Eintracht, and they faced Werder Bremen. They got a valuable draw against Hoffenheim, and I would say they are in a good run now, 4 games without a defeat.
Yeah, then it's time to beat them again, I think. And before the game of Bayern Munich, Frankfurt didn't lose a game in the Bundesliga this season. It was their first loss, and yeah, of course, lost 5-0, and Bayern Munich was great. But it's not a shame to lose against Bayern Munich 5-0, as you saw Atletico Madrid lose 4-0 against Bayern Munich, and they are considered as a world-class team. And so Frankfurt, I think, is a little bit better here, and this is why I think the odd on Frankfurt with 1.8 is good enough to bet on it. Because Bremen for sure is overperforming with their 4 games in a row not losing, and now Frankfurt is at home. I think we have to bet on a win, on a home win.
And I am challenging you now, Radek, to find a valuable bet for Bayern Munich game. They travel to Cologne to face a team that has only 2 points, but at least they drew the last weekend against Stuttgart. Bayern are still Bayern Munich, and Lewandowski scored a hat-trick, so a normal day in the office for the Flix men. Let me see, show me what can we get here, a valuable bet, because it's always hard to find with Bayern Munich at this level.
Yeah, the question is what is the probability to win for Bayern this game? And if you say the probability is about 90 to 100% sure win for Bayern, even odds of 1.2 on Bayern is a value bet, because you can calculate the probability out of the odds, divide through the odds, so you get about 80% probability with the odds. And if you think it's more likely to win 80% in Cologne for Bayern Munich. It's a value. And that's why I think 1.2 for Bayern Munich against a Cologne team is good enough to bet on it. But I don't like these small odds. That's why I always bet on Asian handicaps. And if you bet on Asian handicap, you have to consider, is it likely to win for Bayern with 3 goals in advantage in Cologne? Maybe, but it's getting harder. So Bayern also has to travel to Moscow in the Champions League. I can imagine that they will rest some players then in Moscow or in the Bundesliga, so they will rotate their team. And Cologne has nothing to lose. They know that Frankfurt lost 5-0 against Bayern, and the only chance they have is to play their best football they played in their life, maybe, and then they can keep the game close. But on normal days, Bayern Munich has no problem to win this game, even with 2 or 3 goals in advantage. But I won't touch these low odds on Bayern, and I won't touch these high handicaps on Bayern because of the Champions League. That's why it's kind of no bet for me.
Mm-hmm. And what would be your strategy, Radek? If you would bet, for instance, in these low odds for Bayern, is 1.2, would you go for a really high stake? Because maybe we are tempted, no, to bet, I don't know, 100 euros. At least we get 20 euros, or is too risky? You always go for lower stake.
Yeah, you have always make your bet on depending on your bankroll. So I recommend everybody to build a bankroll only with money they use for betting. If you have 1,000 euro to bet with, and you're not unhappy to lose it, that's fine. And always bet 1% only of your bankroll. So every game the same amount. I wouldn't bet more on one game or less on the other game. So every game should be treated as equal. And that's why I won't say bet a lot on Bayern Munich's odds here. Because you maybe win 70-80% of the time, but there are a lot of surprisings in football. And I remember last year everyone was betting on Manchester City against a weak other team, and Manchester City lost out of the hell, and that made the bookmakers very rich this game. So yeah, for sure. I would see it as a long run and not over betting a event where one personally thinks that this is a great chance. So bet always the same amount, even if you have 1.2 odds, or even if you have 5 or something else. So.
Mm-hmm. Especially probably now we are gonna see even more and more surprises with this really.
Yeah, that's a fact. The closer the winter is coming, the more underdogs will surprise or even win games. And it's getting colder in Germany. It's a question of time when the snow falls. So I think the colder the temperature, the more the underdog is likely to surprise. And maybe we see Cologne surprising this weekend, but I won't bet on surprisings. I always bet on what would be the normal case, and the normal case for sure is a Bayern win. But if you're not seeing attractive odds or value, just don't bet on.
Let's see if you find then good odds, appealing odds in the next game. Is the best one, in my opinion, the one I will put my eye on. On Saturday afternoon, 6:30, we have Borussia Mönchengladbach, Leipzig, 2 Champions League teams. They both won last weekend. Gladbach, we already mentioned it, they suffered a lot against Mainz. And Leipzig also, I would say, they came back with a victory against Hertha, not an easy one. We saw again, Upamecano, one of the mans, I would say, especially in the last Champions League, where all the scouters were putting their eye. I don't know how you see this game.
I see them facing really tough opponents in the Champions League, with Gladbach playing at home against Real Madrid and Leipzig playing at Old Trafford in Manchester. And I think in the Bundesliga, Leipzig is the leader and is a bit better team. But Gladbach showed some good games and is improving their style game by game. So everything else than a draw would surprise me here. But this is a classical game where everything can happen. I can't see it clearly because I would prefer Leipzig just because they are the better team, but Gladbach is at home and both had tough games in the Champions League. That's why I think both are happy with a draw here. And the other thing is what is their form on this daily basis in this game on the Saturday evening top game. And I can imagine it's a close game. Maybe it's attractive to bet on double chance Gladbach if someone is a Gladbach supporter. But I really think the draw is the best thing you can do. Maybe have a look on under goals. Everyone expects that teams are scoring a lot of goals, but I tend to 1-1, and that would be under 2.5 goals or under 3 goals, and you get really higher odds. And I think there is more value betting on higher odds than on things you think they're safe, because there is definitely no safe bet. That's why there are so many sports books out there and making millions and billions and a lot of money.
Under 2.5 goals, we have 2.55 on oddspedia.com right now, so also an appealing market for you. And talking about draws, we have the next game, Freiburg Leverkusen. Freiburg drew last weekend against Union Berlin, although they took the lead with a goal scored by Grifo, and Leverkusen are looking sharp and sharp. They beat Augsburg. I told it before that they struggle a little bit, but the brace scored by Alario was enough. Also, they are good in the Europa League, and they haven't lost yet this season in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, 3 teams didn't lose a game after 5 game days. Leipzig, Wolfsburg and Leverkusen. And now Leverkusen is 4th in the standings after the 3-1 against Augsburg. But the third goal was in the extra time, so it was closer than the 3-1 says. But I think they are clearly the better team, and the odds are attractive with 2.0 on Leverkusen in Freiburg. I think this would be a good bet, considering that Leverkusen has to play in the Europa League on Thursday as well. But I think it's not the worst thing for them to get in a kind of rhythm, and that's what they missed in the first games, because they didn't lose but they didn't win. And against Freiburg, this is a clear thing where Leverkusen has to prove that they belong to the top spots, and odds of 2.0 here on Leverkusen is a good thing, so I would bet on that.
Let's see if this year they can grab the Champions League spot that Gladbach got it last year. And the last game on Sunday, we have the other team that they haven't lost yet, Wolfsburg, traveling to the capital to face Hertha. Hertha, again, they made a good game against Leipzig. John Córdoba, the Colombian striker, scored the goal, but only 1 victory and now 4 defeats for Hertha. And Wolfsburg, we said that they needed to win a game, and after many draws, finally they did it against Arminia Bielefeld.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, they didn't lose a game so far. That's a good thing for them. They hadn't have the toughest opponents, and Hertha is again a team they have to point at least. That's why the odds of 2.6 on Wolfsburg are a little bit too high, or even way too high, because I would expect Wolfsburg to win this game, and I'm confident to make an Asian handicap bet on Wolfsburg here. If draw no bet on Wolfsburg, you get your money back. If this is a draw, you get odds of 1.88. And if you think Wolfsburg is strong enough to beat Hertha, then you can also bet on the 2.65 away win of Wolfsburg. So the odds are good. What happens on the pitch is another thing, so nobody knows what happens. Could be a close game, could be a Hertha win. For sure, everything can happen in every game, but to bet on some events, you have to consider what is more likely, what is good compared with the odds, and go on Oddspedia and compare to find the best odds to get an edge, an advantage, and make profit. Small profits over the long run is better to make one big profit once and lose steadily.
Mm-hmm. And the best odds for the last game we can check on oddspedia.com. The last game is Hoffenheim Union Berlin. We have Hoffenheim really favorite 1.9 right now on Oddspedia. Union Berlin 4.33. Both teams drew the last weekend. I don't know if you expect here also a surprise for the capital team, or Hoffenheim should win this game.
Yeah, I always have the problem with Hoffenheim that I overrate them, and that's why I think bet odds on 1.9 on Hoffenheim at home is a good thing. But on the other hand, I always underrate Union Berlin, and they always surprise me and a lot of other guys. And yeah, that's always the danger here, because Hoffenheim is not that brilliant team. They might be after they beat Bayern Munich with four goals, and but as I said before, regular situation, Hoffenheim wins the home game, and for that odds of 1.9 is good enough. But I understand everyone who is skeptical here, because Union Berlin proved in a lot of games that they can compete with a lot of teams in the first league, and maybe this time again.
You still think that Nagelsmann is in Hoffenheim's bench?
maybe in my... but yeah, after they beating Bayern, you have to be aware. And so they made a good game against Dortmund, where they lost 0-1. And now Union Berlin for sure is a team they have to beat. And if I would be the bookie, I would say the odds on Hoffenheim 1.7, but the bookies give us higher odds, and that's the definition of value, and so you have to bet on Hoffenheim.
Let's grab those odds then. That's all for this weekend. Thank you again, Radek Vegas, for your lessons about Bundesliga and betting.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a fun again, and see you next time. And make sure to subscribe this channel.
Of course. You saw it. Hoffenheim should win the last game, but we expect many draws in this week in the Bundesliga. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Remember, you can get a £10 free bet with Novibet. Leaving your comment here, you will enter the draw. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notifications whenever we publish new content about the Bundesliga or every other tournament. And remember, you can listen also to all our podcasts on Spotify. Next week we have more odds on Bundesliga. We have more Radek Vegas.